Cool. This is our first podcast of Domesticating AI. I'm Mariah Peterson, and we got my friends with me, my recruits.
Yep, I'm Matt Sharp, AI extraordinaire.
Just AI.
Yeah, and I'm Chris Brusso. I build stuff in my basement.
Yes, that is us. Domesticating AI is just a podcast where we talk about hosting AI locally, open source. I think all of us have it in our basement right now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we wanted to start talking about our new toys because we
Great.
all got NVIDIA DGX Sparks. I got 2 of them, and you each got 1. And then I have used mine minimally, and I just sit on the text thread with you guys. And I'm like, oh look, they're doing it again. Where am I tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about them. I think that the DGX Spark is something that a lot of people want to buy as an AI inference server. And unfortunately, it does not have the support for that. It might in the future, but I think even if it does, the hardware specs and the throughput of it are like not up to the point where people would want to use it as an AI server, unless they're okay with it going really slowly.
Will you define inference server in case somebody has
Sure.
no clue what that means?
So there are 2 paradigms that LLMs and AI exist in. Mm-hmm. You have training and you have inference.
Yeah.
Training is where you're teaching it stuff, and then after the training is done, it has static weights, and you can use those weights to inference or to generate on new data, right? So the AI that you interact with when you like go to chat.openai.com or claude.ai is an inference AI, right? You're not teaching it new stuff at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think getting at what he's saying, though, comparing it to my main computer, which has a 5090 in it, it's very slow. The difference is that it has that unified GPU. So any model, pretty much almost all open source models that you're going to run, you can just load it up and get running and don't have to think too much about it. I think it hits this new paradigm when, like, throughout my career, 10 years ago, GPUs were just for gaming. And then you started getting GPUs for crypto, and then like slowly they became actually something useful for machine learning. I mean, they were always essential for training and things, but it was difficult because, 10 years ago, right, like Kubernetes just came out, right? So that it's a whole new
2016,
paradigm.
so yeah.
Yeah.
And,
almost exactly. Jeez.
Yeah, and Kubernetes, like, when I think about the cloud and it doesn't really, it wasn't built in mind with accelerators, right? And
Not at all.
It matches and it watches CPU and memory utilization, but GPU, watching those things, like getting that, just the logs in is work. And, all the other type of platforms like Nomad and other things, they're even worse than Kubernetes because at least Kubernetes was extensible. So there's a lot to do there, but.
Well, in Kubernetes is like, it has this, like, to go into the weeds, right? The way they do parallelization is virtually, right? They inside Kubernetes, they run up pods and it's like, that's how we do work in parallel. They completely ignore the infrastructure. Yeah. And that's the exact opposite of how GPUs do their parallelization.
That's a feature, Mariah, not a bug.
I am not. I know. I constantly see this too. Anytime we at work do any new AI feature, and they're like, "Let's deploy this to Kubernetes," and it completely like borks our performance and everything. It's just like we have like treating Kubernetes pods as VMs is not how we should be treating Kubernetes pods. Is my point.
Yeah.
But so just like throw them on a VM or like, I don't know, like we do.
You're reminding me of some of these lunatics that I know that are running Kubernetes to run Proxmox inside Kubernetes pods. I'm like, why?
Do they know what Proxmox is for?
No. They've just heard you deploy with Kubernetes and Proxmox gives you virtualization. You know? I'm like, oh, wow.
Oh gosh. Wow. That's yes. That's just the whole different. So you have a 5090 on one of your machines. I have a 5090. I haven't done any benchmarks on my 5090 because it has not had Ethernet connection for 3 weeks.
Dude.
Since I've been moving, and then I had to install a driver, and then I found out there was a hardware issue, so I had to buy an adapter. I have internet to my 5090. I did run, so I just, on a stream, I was like, I just opened my Spark, and I was like, okay, let's do I have the Mac Studio M3.
Yeah.
I didn't get the big fancy one. I only spent $4,000 on it and got,
As opposed to the $11,000 option?
yes,
Yeah. Gotcha.
and got 96 gigabytes of unified RAM instead of like whatever. So I figured at least I can compare two ARM machines, unified RAM, whatever, and like 128 and 96 and not that off. So I just did Llama C++ benchmarks, which is like you said, it's not an inference machine, which I agree. Like, read the description on the page. It's like it literally
very
says
much not an inference machine.
It says for CUDA, it says literally like PyTorch development AI machine. It's like that's like literally it doesn't say do inference on it anyway. So I was running the benchmarks, and I haven't done it against my 5090. I wanted to do that because I benchmarked the 5090 and the Mac Studio 6 months ago, and so I wanted to update it. What I found was that on tokenization.
The pre-processing.
Right? So when it read in the prompt, the Spark was like 3x faster.
Yeah.
But on generating tokens, the Mac Studio is faster.
Oh, 100%. It's also funny to look at because I feel like that benchmark has been repeated so many times. So many people are aware of it. But you end up looking at model loading time.
Yeah.
And that's where the Spark also fails compared to actual inference machines, which it's hilarious to me that I'm saying that a Mac is an actual inference machine. But Metal is good for that. Metal's great for decoding. It's not good for prompt pre-processing. It's not good for the CUDA enjoyers, right? If you want to run VLLM, you're not doing it on a Mac. It's never going to happen. or Unsloth or any of the like really heavily optimized AI frameworks. You're not going to do that on a Mac, but you can run Llama CPP or like LM Studio. And honestly, that's what the Mac in my studio is doing. It's just running LM Studio and nothing else. It has no other purpose,
Not that I ever use Ollama, because Chris has taught me never to use it. I have it installed on all my computers. I just don't use it. It's super easy to have set up and running on a Mac just as a server and develop against it, right? So like, I still say like for a developer, if you're trying to get people to develop locally without having to pay for tokens or whatever, start with Ollama on any developer machine, any developer Mac, and you're immediately like up and running.
That's the thing. I don't dislike Ollama. I want to make that really clear.
You just trained me to use the better tools.
Well, it's not even you. I feel like Ollama is a fantastic gateway drug for LLM inference.
Yes.
Get you in the door, get you to figure out some preferences, and then once you have those preferences, you can expand out in so many different directions,
Yes.
I use Ollama all the time, so
you should. Yeah.
It is absolutely so easy, especially with it's just integrated into so many other aspects. For example, the first thing I did with my Spark cluster is I span up Open WebUI.
Yeah.
And Open WebUI has a Docker container that includes Ollama.
Yeah.
And so it was just a matter of spinning it up.
Yeah.
And then I made sure to expose Ollama port as well. So it's just like, now it's just super easy because I can just, from my Spark cluster, I can go to Open WebUI, I have Ollama, it's just, picking whatever model I want, and then I can get running. And so it's just a very fast and quick and easy way to get going. And yeah, it might not have the performance and aspects, but it's brain dead simple.
I don't think that's the point of Ollama. I think the point of Ollama is to be a gateway drug.
Yeah.
To just like get you doing something locally hosted. I can't tell you how many people I'm like, yeah, I have Ollama hooked up to Open WebUI for my AI at home.
Yeah.
Everybody that Homelabs has told me that at least once.
Everybody that Homelabs starts there.
Yes.
Yeah. At least in 2025. Yeah. Oh man. I started there. It was a great place to be too. I think that what ended up bringing me out of it was, and this is interesting because this is the same thing that brought me out of Open WebUI, was just getting to the point where I wanted more control over the model, right? I know how I want it to respond. I know how I want it to do web searches. I know what I want the return of those web searches to look like. I know how I want it to store those, I know how I want it to interact with things. And as soon as you get into that portion of actually modifying the model's behavior, it becomes a lot harder. Mm-hmm. And so for the people listening, if you never get to that portion, don't feel bad.
It's
right?
not.
You don't need to.
No. I mean, to say I am a user of AI models, I'm not a builder of models, right? And so, just the fact that, yes, I do it with Llama C++ doesn't mean anything. I rarely am doing any tuning. But, so it doesn't matter. I totally could be using Ollama and be getting the same benefit of doing that. I just like to do things the hard way because we all have a little bit of masochist in us to be an engineer that Homelab. So you used it. The use case where you were saying with Open WebUI and Ollama on your Spark, that is as an inference server, correct? Just for definitions to tie it back. Okay, what else have you done with your Sparks besides benchmarking?
Dude, I'm a CUDA enjoyer.
You're a CUDA enjoyer, so you've done.
So the first thing that I did was just try and max out the GPU, see how much I could actually get. Could you? Oh, I got 126 gigabytes out of that thing, which was awesome. I was expecting it to be closer to 120, given the OS and everything. No, I have experienced CUDA out of memory for a variety of reasons, but I got up to 126 gigabytes, and that was fantastic. And that was verified even on their little Spark dashboard. Their
Spark dashboard, the remote Spark dashboard you have running on the separate
Spark
computer.
Dashboard. Yeah.
My dashboard is constantly at 127.
Oh yeah?
It's always there. It's an issue. I've told these guys, and I showed them such an issue that I went and I found on the NVIDIA support page.
I remember that link you sent us.
Yes, this nice command that you can run that will essentially clear the cache.
Yeah.
And I'm running it all the time just as I'm moving around. So I guess I pretty much am using it as an inference server. So one of the main reasons I got it was, so I actually consult with two small startups here in Utah where, one of them hasn't even raised funding, so it feels much more like a service project. and the other one, they're, both of them are smaller than 5 people type big, right? And so they're both very cost conscious. And so it's we could run this on RunPod very cheaply, but even then they're, I don't know if I want to give my credit card. And so it's just if I can come with some hardware, I have my own Spark, I can quickly run a comfy UI, API that, they can hit to generate images or, have interactions with, Open WebUI or other things like that. It really opens a lot of doors and kind of the flexibility I can offer my clients. And so that's a lot of what I've been using it for. So just kind of setting up Tailscale, figuring out the networking that way I can, share it with them without necessarily exposing it to the entire internet. And
Did you go through any of the docs on there? So when you set it up, right?
Dude, they're called NIMs. Isn't that silly? I was told this by an NVIDIA rep that the docs for the Spark are called NIMs. NIM. I don't even remember what that stands for.
Okay.
It's in the, you see that all the time in their docs. I don't know.
Because I just know that when I set it up, right, you set it up over SSH, do do all these things, and then it immediately directed me to the site with all the walkthroughs.
Did you get the SSH working? Because what happened with mine is, and I recorded this, and it'll be in a video pretty soon, it got up to about 60-70% done, and then it just hung for 7 hours.
So I set everything up over SSH. Which my coworker later after the fact says was that a secure SSH? I'm like, I don't know. I just set it up. It is now. Like I was really impressed. Like they had things like they said, like set up Open WebUI and set up Ollama.
Yeah.
Like they have things. They had an immediate set up Tailscale thing on it, which I thought was incredible. I don't know who at Tailscale got that one on there.
Yeah.
But they did a great job. The fact that because I've used Tailscale for my Homelab since I started it 2 years ago. So because of Chris's video to set up a thing on a Raspberry Pi.
I learned about
is amazing.
Tailscale from you guys. So
I mean, I used to work there,
changed.
so I'm hoping their stocks become valuable at some point. Like I need my stocks that's my one potential cash out is Tailscale. So
We love Tailscale.
Well, it's changed my whole development. So yeah, I love it. Absolutely.
Actually, while we have this opportunity, I'd love to shout out a couple of open source projects.
You should.
For stuff like what Matt's talking about, right? We have Comfy UI, but we also have Automatic 1111 for image generation. But if you want a project similar to Open WebUI that is like the whole thing together, there are two that I know of that I've tested that are pretty cool. One is called Clariverse, which is it's the whole thing. You have a model for image generation, you have a model for text generation, you have a model for video generation, and you have APIs to hit for all of them. And then there's Jan or Jan. Some people, I don't remember which one they prefer. I'm going to say Jan because that's how I would say it. But that one is specifically attempting to replicate the OpenAI's chat interface, chat and image generation and everything.
So I
interface.
know that they just you shared the issue recently about how Llama C++ is redoing their web UI.
Yeah.
Have you messed with that at all, or is it in a branch?
Ton. It's I love Llama C++'s web UI. I liked it. I like it more now, but I have liked it more than others for a long time.
I've never used Open WebUI. I've only used the Llama C++ one. I didn't know you could disable it until a month ago. I was like, dang it. I bet I could have got some memory back
resources.
from doing that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my favorite things about Llama C++ as opposed to these others is they give you the option to change essentially your PEMDAS for sampling. Your order of operations, right? Are you going to do top K sampling or top P sampling first? And if you know what those are, you know how much it can change. Well,
you don't need to explain it. I'm just saying I don't.
If you know about model sampling and the multinomial sampling that happens in order to get the next token for that generation, changing the order of how it happens is a huge preference. And they have a default, and I think most people are satisfied with the default. But Llama C++ on their server lets you just change it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Have you done any, I do not do like any model training ever because I gave up on that life 6 years ago. I was like, no. But like, I think I could get into model fine tuning. Would that be a good use of the Spark?
100%. Yeah. Especially, so I'm working on this right now for a video demonstrating the Spark as an ML dev platform as opposed to an ML inference platform. Which is what
I think their docs say they should be. Okay, so continue.
Yeah. So you can fine tune, and I'm not exaggerating here, if you pull out all the stops and you do QLoRA fine tuning in int4, you can fine tune a 200 billion parameter model on the Spark, which is amazing. It shouldn't even fit in there,
That just blew my mind. 200 billion parameters. Like those, I have never been able to load one of those models onto any of my hardware. So it's
how many people have? I mean, you remember when the first Llama model came out, Llama 7DB, and it was so cool, but it was so far out of reach for everybody.
Yeah.
Except for like companies and research organizations.
Yeah.
You can do that very easily in almost full precision right now just on the Spark.
As far as fine tuning.
Yeah. And when I say almost full precision, it's BF16, right? So it's half precision, but like that's pretty much the starting point for every model at this point.
Well, it's also important to remember that a GPU is only running on, TF like 20, right? So like you don't need full FP32. Most of that gets cut off once it gets thrown to the GPU tensors. So anyways.
Yeah.
Like
we're optimizing. We're skipping that step.
Yeah. I mean, saving anything in full precision, it is really important when you're running it inference on a CPU. But like, you don't ever. I don't know why so many people want to always be running these things on CPUs. Like, just get a GPU. Just do it.
It's
save you
worth
so
it
much in
to
the long
do,
run.
and this leads me to the other thing, right? I have a framework desktop also, which also has unified memory with the AMD NPU, but so few resources exist right now for accessing that NPU outside of just running Windows, which I'm not doing on there. I've tried it with Fedora, I've tried it with Ubuntu. There are various resources that exist, but I just ran into a problem where I had forgotten to update my BIOS to have particular parameters before installing the OS.
That
And
is,
so-
yes.
It just like, it's not ruined, right? But it was.
But you do
it
have
is
to
an issue that
start
I wasn't.
over.
I have to start over, and it was an issue that I was unaware of when I was going into it, and so that's a little bit annoying. I haven't been able to do like a full comparison, but to your point, those issues are just non-existent on the Spark.
Yeah.
You just plug it in, you set it up, and you have CUDA for
Have you
people who
either
like
of you
CUDA.
tried plugging it? I know we all set it up headless, but have you tried plugging it into a desktop after the fact?
I have.
And yours didn't? Has it worked yet?
No.
You've never got the desktop to show up.
But that may be a problem on my end. I'm trying to do USB-C to USB-C to just like a little Arzopa monitor.
Oh.
And I can see the mouse, but it's just a black
So
screen.
I
so I
can-
don't care about it.
I got it working when I did the HDMI port.
Sure.
Last night I tried USB-C to HDMI. No
Nothing?
dice. Nothing.
Okay.
So it could totally be the USB-C not having the correct driver to do that.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot of reason to plug it into a desktop.
Oh,
I
me
was
neither.
doing it just for fun because it's just in my basement and I don't.
Well,
The point
so-
is for it to be in a cool, dry place and me not look at it ever.
I literally have a monitor right next to it, and I've never bothered to plug it in. I'm just like, it's it's right there. I can SSH into it.
I
with
have
it.
Awesome.
a monitor. Anyway, I was just kind of like, I was trying to figure out. So I got two, and I set them both up separately, and then followed the instructions on their thing for how to couple them together. And then I couldn't SSH into one of them, and I thought I'd broken something.
Sure.
So I pulled the monitor out to try and like plug them in, and it's like it kept saying we can't connect to the internet. Turns out that's how it's supposed to work. They're supposed to be like a primary, and then
no.
like the backup. So like the one worker that I can connect to is just pushing the resources and jobs to the other one. So I can't SSH into that from any computer besides the primary Spark that it's connected to.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. That's kind of why when I was talking to Chris, I'm like, I think I want another one. I think this is really fun. And but I'm like, I might just want it as a separate, two different Sparks that I can
'cause
individually shell into.
100%. Like if you couple them, you're kind of locked into that as long
yeah.
as they're together.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, a couple of them, if you really want to hit the
256
Yeah.
CUDA memory.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. I
Well, I
want to
mean,
hit that.
I could see that. I could see like yeah, but if you're doing any kind of training or like fine tuning a model or like anything,
Even
like,
if you're doing community service and you're quantizing new models
yeah,
using
100%
Llama CPP,
quantization.
right?
I could see that being for my use case where it's like I've had it for 3 weeks and I have run benchmarks on it and that's it. It's like, Mariah, why did you drop $9,000 on those things? It's
yeah,
like
good question.
tax write-off. I mean,
Well, it definitely goes back to that. It's just like, well, if you're using it as an inference server, kind of like I am, which it really, I don't think, as Chris said, isn't what it's geared for. Yeah, it's definitely geared towards the dev environments. And I think that experience is actually really great. Like if you're, a data scientist and the cloud scares you, then this is definitely something to get, because the DGX, like that DGX dashboard that you first get in, like it comes with like Jupyter Lab. You just click the button, opens it, and it's just ready to go. And there's so much memory on it. Like you can do whatever you need to.
I mean,
you can
I don't
solve
see
so
why
many
on earth we
junior-
don't do more local development for data science. Like,
Yeah.
if people are like, "Oh, we can't put our data on the machine," I'm like, "Then put it behind Tailscale. Now it's a production machine." Like, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Like,
You are describing my sentiment over the last 8 years. Yeah.
but you said, yeah, no, totally, yes, I would. So for someone like me that doesn't do data science or training or anything, but decided to just splurge on compute for no reason than to splurge on compute, what do you think would be a good use case of all of that memory?
Oh, fantastic question. So I haven't started this yet, and that's why I didn't say it when we're talking about what I've used the Spark for. I have a folder on the Spark's desktop called Star Wars LLM.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. What this is so I'm mounting my NAS, which contains all of my Star Wars collection of movies and TV shows and all that stuff. Basically, it's just going to be a long-running job creating a definitive Star Wars data set, right? I'm not going to do anything that would prompt Disney to be mad, right? This is not for that.
It's not leaving your home lab.
Right. It's not for that. But when you go online and you look for, like, what is the script of Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 4, right? It's not there.
No, why would it be there?
When you're looking for the script of The Mandalorian, the newest episode, it's not there. And it's not being released. We're going to start with that. Transcribe. We're going to then look at, like, just use clip and do image processing, which the Spark is actually pretty fast at. That falls under the same pre-processing of LLM tokens, the same sort of compute. All right, that is a huge oversimplification, but it's an intuitive understanding of it. Right? It's pretty good at that. So we can use clip and create a text to image database or a data set for every single frame of Star Wars media. I'm going to do it. And this is a long-running, high-compute job that I'm planning on just letting run for a couple of months. And that's what the Spark is ultimately going to be fantastic for, is if you have something where you're like, man, I wish I could just process this, and it's going to take like 80 to 100 gigs of memory for a while.
And you won't spend $3,000 on a
And I won't spend
notebook.
$3,000 on a notebook. Yeah.
Which is almost like, that's the other thing people give me a hard time about. I have purchased 7 computers this year
Wow.
for my home lab,
Nice.
right? So the home lab went from 2 Raspberry Pis and a refurb computer to some GPUs and a couple of things. Well, I don't count my Mac Studio as a home lab, but people give me a hard time. They're like, why would you spend $15 on cloud APIs when I could spend, $5,000 and run my own LLM? I'm like, yes, APIs are cheap when you don't use them very much, but as soon as you get into the heavy use and the constant use.
Have you asked any of the people that have gotten those plaques from OpenAI how much it cost?
Oh, I don't need to ask them. We got one at work. I'm very aware.
How much did it cost? It's astronomical.
Yes.
Right? And especially when you get into the pricing where a lot of LLM endpoints, this is actually something that I like about Cursor. I don't have a ton of things that I just absolutely love about Cursor, but this is one of them. When you're selecting models, they tell you about predatory pricing. They're like,
yeah, they do tell you.
Claude Sonnet 4.5, when you go over 200K tokens, the price doubles. And they tell you. They don't, and they'll give you a little warning. They don't try to mitigate it at all. And obviously Anthropic isn't going to mitigate that. But like you're saying, when you get into high volume, high compute jobs that are long running or you have customers using them, the cost balloons so fast in ways that are really unpredictable for businesses.
The only
or at least new businesses.
I got a while ago, I decommissioned it, but I had a mobile coding environment set up on my Raspberry Pi. I couldn't get it with the local LLM because my networking was obviously just not working. Yeah. I set it up with just Anthropic API. Mm-hmm. I did a talk and a meetup. It was an hour talk. I made 4 calls, $20.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and it was writing code. It wasn't doing nothing, but it was just like...
Oh, I was at this meetup.
You were at that meetup.
I'm like, this sounds vaguely familiar.
You were at that meetup. And it was...
I was there too, yeah.
Yeah, $20. And it's like, which I think was worth it for the single instance, but it's not worth it for a continued use. It's way cheaper, like Claude Code's cheaper. I obviously don't use the same one, and my work pays for it. But there's also the prorated things. Anyway, but yeah, that's why I'm like... Sometimes, some days, I'm hitting that thing, just trying to test. I'm not good at prompt engineering, but I'm constantly, like, I need to just do prompt evaluation and do different things. So, like, I'm hitting it over and over again. Sometimes you spin up jobs, just hit the API, do load testing on it. We did a load testing job on my stuff before. How can we do throughput? And so, like, I hit it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pay for those. But I don't know. Clearly, we don't do this to save money. Like, it's a lot of money up front.
No, we front load the costs so we can hopefully break even.
Yes.
Right?
But I think it's way fun. I think it's a fun, but I think the skills involved with this help you in all, areas of AI development.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at the costs, definitely, like, if you're one of those people who's stuck in GCP and AWS land, spinning up a GPU, like, they charge per minute, sometimes per 5 minutes or something like that.
I can't tell you how much I hate the Vertex AI ecosystem.
It gets really expensive, and it can make sense for a work environment, but, like, there are cheaper, like RunPod, like Modal. These charge per second GPUs and can be a lot more cost effective. And if you're using that for your personal projects, you'll often be way, way cheaper than going out and buying something like the Spark, because at a $4,000 price point, it's
well, I mean,
quite
it's not
expensive.
entry level. That's definitely that's not entry level.
Yeah, so it's just.
Well, I mean, entry level would be you got it running on a Pi, right? Like, that's entry level.
We both have, right?
Right.
I did not. I only had 6 gig. Sorry, you can't get 6 gigabytes of RAM. Well,
4 gigs?
I had a
You
4
had the
gig
4 gig
RAM,
RAM?
and so I could not inference against it. I could run it, but I couldn't inference.
Ouch.
And that's when I was like, for the same price as a Raspberry Pi, I could get a refurbished computer and get 32 gigabytes of RAM. Like, anyway.
Well, it's funny too. Oh man, there's so many different directions to go right here. I want to hit friends don't let friends run their OSs on micro SD cards. Because if you do a little bit of work and buy a PCIe hat, you can get like an actual NVMe SSD drive on the Raspberry Pi, and then you can mmap. So then your RAM isn't your only memory being used. But I have set a Raspberry Pi on fire doing this.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't necessarily recommend it.
So here's the thing,
It
though.
is possible. Don't let that be long running.
I looked at Pi 5s. I think a Pi 5 I didn't get a Pi 5. They were like $150, $160, and I can get a B-Link mini PC for $169.
Yeah.
And so I got 2 B-Link mini PCs. Like, I don't see the value of a
Easy.
Raspberry Pi right now for home labbing when I can get a mini PC for the same price, essentially. I'm not saying don't get a Pi. I'm saying, like, I think the entry level is mini PCs.
We're just saying that Pi needs to reevaluate. Raspberry Pi needs to reevaluate their value statement, because they used to be just the cheapest option for a single board computer, and they're not anymore.
No.
Well, they have an ecosystem behind them that many other, cheap home lab services don't necessarily do.
Oh yeah.
The community, I think, is really what drives. But like all of that is free, right? Like you go on, you can talk to the community, you can understand better about what you need to do.
For Pis, I think I've seen a lot of movement in Pis, like with their Pico controller. So like, can we microcontroller automation, right? And I think that's where Pi's doubling down. Not that matters. I'm saying if you want like the home lab, I think you could do the same thing for the same cost entry level with a mini PC.
Sure.
And like be doing hosting.
Oh, 100%.
And if you are not comfortable with Ubuntu, you get the desktop, which you would not. I mean, you can get that with a Pi, but you've lost all your ability to inference.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to talk about that, like that's what am I using the Spark for right now as we speak? I have my laptop out there. And the laptop is running Zed, which is my new favorite IDE. But like you could do this with VS Code as well, just remote development, right? Zed is connected to the Spark. Mm-hmm. So it's all the code is running on the Spark, but then I'm using open code inside the Zed terminal connecting to my inference engine. Yeah. So the agent is telling the Spark what code to run to complete this project. Right? You don't need the Spark for that. You can just do that with a $160 mini PC. Yeah. And that's totally viable, To
get started. So that's the entry level, and then the Spark is the...
The Spark is when you know what you're doing and you're a CUDA enjoyer. It might be worth it, maybe.
Then it was not worth it for me to purchase. That was none of those things for me, but I do not regret those shiny gold boxes. So we should probably wrap up. Any last words? Any last recommendations for anyone who wants to dip their toes into home labbing AI?
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention this. Like, we've been talking about how much fun the Spark has been for all of us. It should be noted, not every single one of us had issues.
Oh yes,
Getting
we
it
have
up and
a
running.
long thread with issues.
Oh yeah.
And it was, I couldn't have gotten past my issues if I couldn't have reached out to Chris and Mariah and saying, hey, can you run this cat command and tell me like what this config is supposed to look like?
That goes both ways. We did it for each other. Yeah.
Right. And so but we had different issues. And so there's something about the quality control about the Spark coming out, but hopefully they solve that in the long run. But it is just something to know that, I feel sorry for anyone who got the Spark and doesn't have a friend who also got it. 'Cause
Yeah.
You need
it
to
would have
have a
been
friend.
so much more difficult. What was just like a simple text message to get me up and running would have turned out to weeks of annoyance of.
And it's
trying to
not like
figure it
there's
out.
too new. It's not like you could ask Claude. Claude wouldn't have told you.
No, Claude
Yeah.
Claude lies to you about it. And then is super weird when you're like, okay, look up the Spark. Then it's like, oh, you were absolutely right. I can't help you. Yeah, thank you. Nice. So my recommendation, the NIMs for the Spark. If you go on NVIDIA's site and you look at the Spark documentation, they have a whole bunch of different quote unquote recipes for you to do. A pet peeve of mine is that the NIMs are almost all Docker dependent. That like if I want to
Yeah.
do fine tuning with Unsloth, I have to find NVIDIA's specific. I have to download NVIDIA's specific Docker container, go into the Docker container and do it there instead of just telling me how I can do it on the Spark itself, right? But those NIMs, because they're Docker based, give you the ability, even if you don't have a Spark, to
do it
just
on your
do
computer.
the recipe, right?
Yeah.
Just do it. Go see, because those are the things that NVIDIA prepared for open source development on their platform, and you can use them right now, even if you don't have the
Yeah.
Spark, right?
And these NIM recipes are really.
They're great.
Yeah, I mean, when I bought the Spark months ago,
In
and
like May, right?
Pre-ordered
Yeah.
because that was the
Pre-ordered.
only way to get it.
right, like almost everything I thought, hey, these are the things I want to do are like NIM. So it's just like, oh, I don't even have to like struggle through this.
No, they
I can
have
just,
like a QLoRA one. They have an Unsloth one.
do,
They
yeah.
have
they had Tailscale. They
Yeah.
had
They
Open
had one for
WebUI.
VS Code.
They did. They said hook it up to your VS Code.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had one for Comfy UI as well. Like,
Yeah.
all of these are great. Definitely check them out.
I would say if you're getting a Spark, don't think you're going to add it to a cluster. That's not what it's used for. It is like 100% a developer tool. It is to enable you to build AI, not build stuff with AI, but to like build AI. Like look at the specs. Like it's all like petaflops of processing. You're not thinking about petaflops of processing when you're like calling an API. You're thinking about that when you're training models or fine tuning models and stuff like that, which I don't do, but I want to do just the fine tuning because I will.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it'd be so fun to fine tune what Chris didn't want a long time ago, but like to take all the things I've written or like video transcripts from like all of my Twitch streams and just like fine tune a model on that. And so now when I start writing blog posts, I don't have to go to ChatGPT and like give it all of these because right now it essentially has those instructions like instructions on it that tell it how I like things. And now it's just like, oh, that's how Mariah talks. These
Yeah.
are the weird anyway. So just
Yeah.
like that's exactly how I see it being. And I'll be so glad that I couple them together when I'm processing text off of Twitch videos.
Yeah, dude. I've talked about this so many times recently that like speaker dependent models, small models that are only to represent one person are so much easier to manage, so much easier to create, and so much easier to make very, very good at what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
Because it's not general purpose. You don't have to worry about everything else.
exactly. So we plan on doing this podcast, keeping it going bi-weekly, talking about AI and stuff. We'll bring on some guests. It probably won't be all three of us because we're all busy people. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris just has his agents do stuff for him, so he's optimizing his life so he can go to his kids' basketball games.
Yep.
Right? So yeah, we'll be back. You can catch us. Hopefully we'll be on YouTube and Spotify, like so you can do the audio or the video, and we'll see you back. Anything else you want to add?
No, thanks for being here with us.
I'm glad.
Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you are more interested in maybe doing some home labs yourself.
If you, are you posting all your videos to your YouTube channel, or are they private?
That's right.
videos?
Yeah.
So you should probably.
I have a couple of videos that are private that I need to like share with you and get figured out. But the one that I'm working on right now is going to be public immediately.
Yeah.
Just the DGX Spark as a dev computer and comparing it with the Framework desktop as a dev computer.
And are you guys, do you want to shout out your book before we close?
Oh, sure.
Because I mean,
ahead,
like
man.
you do have a book, like we have a qualification for why your guys are cool.
Oh yeah, we wrote LLMs in production together. So this was honestly a lot of conversations we had while writing this book were things like this, which would spark interest in, okay, how do people actually do LLMs in production, but not, just the toy examples, the actual hygiene, like the security, cost optimizations.
Well, even integrations, right? Like we had an LLM on a Raspberry Pi, but then how do we call that thing with LangChain,
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw a review on Goodreads that said, this is just what the authors are enjoying, like what they like. Why else would you run an LLM on a Raspberry Pi? And I totally, that is great criticism.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
accurate.
also the aspect of, that's partly why we did it, is so that way we could give the readers some hands-on experience of being like, yeah, you can do this. And because a lot of people were pushing to get these things smaller and everything, but it's just like that hands-on experience of realizing, okay, we got it on a Raspberry Pi and it's so slow.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's just,
And even if you speed it up, it's still slow.
Yeah, it's still.
but if you can deploy an LLM on a Raspberry Pi, you can deploy it anywhere. And
literally anywhere.
so our readers can come away with some very hands-on deployment experience that you won't get in many other places.
You reminded me of that meme, this one sparks joy, right? That's what we put in the book, was the LLM stuff that we were interested in that sparks joy that we saw working, That was it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We'll probably have to get bios and stuff for whatever and put all those links in there, and
Sure.
we'll get this all figured out eventually. But yeah, thanks for being on for the ride, and we'll catch everybody next time. We need to come up with a slogan or a catchphrase or something, because it's domesticating AI, and then have a something.
Heal.
Heal.